If your practice is under cash flow pressure or growth has plateaued and you don't know where to start from, then don't click away. Well, before I begin, I want to acknowledge you for taking time out from your busy schedule, and I promise that this will be a fair exchange. Because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly where your practice is losing revenue. You will understand why cash flow feels tight or plateaued even when the practice is busy. And you will also know exactly where to start first so you can take action straight away with a lot of clarity. So watch this video until the end, because this video can add tens of thousands of pounds to your practice. Why am I recording this, by the way? Well, after speaking with many principals and running a survey with over 40 practice owners, I found one thing to be consistently true. Most principals are not clear on their numbers. And I say this with the greatest respect. And I also know, by the way, just to let you know, I also know dentists are extraordinary clinicians. They are heart-led. They want to help people. They have spent years of mastering their craft. But running a dental practice as a business is a completely different skill set. And nobody trained them for that part. So what happens? You buy software to run the practice. You hire practice manager to manage things. You stay focused on clinical work. And the numbers? Nobody's watching them closely enough. And meanwhile, costs are rising. Associates want more money. The team needs managing. And at the end of each month, the money does not add up. And they can't figure out why. What's happened? Where's the money's going? And this is exactly what this video is all about. I am Gagan Kumar, and I am a revenue, systems, and growth strategist. I work with private dental practice owners and help them find where the revenue is being lost or can be added, and then fix this very, very fast. I've made it my mission to educate practice principals and associates on their numbers. This is the really crucial part. So I'm going to educate them. I want to educate you. Because when you understand where your revenue is going or where the revenue can come from, everything changes. Cash flow increases. Stress goes down. A practice starts to work by itself for you. So let's go straight into this. 40 practice principals took a survey that I ran recently. And I asked them one simple question. What is the one thing you want to improve in next 90 days? None of them said marketing. None of them said operational or team challenges. Most of them said same thing. Improve cash flow and profits. And here's the part that really, really stuck with me. Every single one of those practices was already busy. Full diaries, doing good turnover, patients coming through the door every single day. And still, by the end of the month, they were just breaking even, or practice had plateaued. The profit was stopped. So I started asking myself a new question first. If the practice is busy, where's the money going? And what I found, it was not the marketing issue with so many of them. It was not a team alignment issue. It was not the economy. It was many small leakages that were happening silently inside the practice every single week. And the frustrating part is, you often cannot see them clearly on a spreadsheet or in your softwares. Let me show you what I mean. Look at this. Look at this. A patient comes in for a consultation. They don't book the treatment. You move on. That's one leak. It's not been fixed, right? Because there's no system. A patient says, I need to think about it, or I need to speak to my spouse. You say, no problem. Take your time. They never come back, they ghost you. That's another leak. Someone calls the practice. Nobody answers, or they don't get the enough or right information. So they call the practice down the road instead. That's another leak. None of these feel like a crisis in the moment, but add them over 12 months inside a practice turning over $500,000 or above, you're looking at tens of thousands of pounds lost even without realizing it. And this is the real problem. And if you don't fix these issues, or if you don't fix these leaks, bringing more patients, spending more money on the marketing will not solve anything. It will be like having a leaking bucket. You put money into marketing, more leads comes in, and leaking from the bottom. And in my work with practice principles, I have found there are many places where revenue leaks, but today we will talk about only 3. And these 3 leakages can be blocked within 90 days or less. So pay attention. And this can add extra 20, 30, 40, 50,000 pounds per month in your practice. So the first leak is from reception to TCO. This is where many practices lose momentum before treatment even has begun. A patient reaches out, they are interested, they have a problem, they want help. But something breaks down between the first contact and them actually moving forward. Maybe it's a response time, maybe it's how the call handled, maybe nobody followed up properly, maybe the handover into the TCO stage is weak. And what happens? Patients goes somewhere else. And the result, revenue lost. The second leak is from TCO to dentist. This is where case acceptance breaks down. The patient speaks to the TCO, they understand the treatment, they are ready to move forward, but then something happens. The patient says, let me think about it. Let me speak to my partner. And the team says, of course, no problem. They leave. Nobody follows up properly. Nobody brings them back with a clear structure. And the treatment never happens. More inquiry comes in, it gets buried in the system. What happens? Revenue lost. Sometimes a TCO is doing a great job, but there's not enough consultations coming through. Again, revenue lost. Sometimes one dentist is converting well, but has empty chair. What happens? Revenue lost. Sometimes another dentist is not converting at all, and nobody notices it. Whatever is the reason, the result is the same. Revenue lost. The third leak is internal referrals, and this one is almost always missed completely. Look at this. You already have patients inside the practice, right? You already have trust with you. They already have trust with you. They already receive treatment, but there's no proper process to guide them to the next conversation. A patient who could move from hygiene into whitening never hears about this properly. A patient suitable for further treatment never gets guided properly. And it's not because the team does not care. It's because there's no system in place. And when there's no system, there's no consistency. And when there's no consistency, revenue left on the table every single month. Let me be very open, honest, and direct with you. And I hope you don't mind me being direct with you, because I want to wake you up. None of this happens because you're a bad dentist. It happens because nobody trained you to run the business side of the practice. It's not your fault. You spend years of becoming brilliant clinician. And then one day, from associate, you became a practice owner, a business owner. And suddenly, you were responsible for systems, conversions, case acceptance, team performance, patient retentions, and cash flow. In fact, most of what you know about running a practice may have come from the places you worked as an associate. Let me ask you, are you running your practice in the way it should be run, or the way you were shown to run in your previous practices? It's probably you were watched how things were done. You learned what seemed normal. You picked up the habits, ways of managing people, ways of handling patients, the ways of running the day-to-day side of the practice. And then when you opened or bought your own practice, a lot of that naturally came with you. Yes, you may have made some changes. You may have improved the look, the feel, or the branding. But when it comes to operations, systems, communications, follow up, case acceptance, and team alignment, are you still repeating what you were shown years ago? Now, let me just ask you to think about it for a moment. What if the practice that trained you did not have the right system in the first place? This is what happens for many principals. They are not building from a proven commercial model. They're often rebuilding what they have seen before without ever being shown a better way. And the industry don't help either, right? Because everyone talks about clinical experience or excellence, new equipment, new techniques, new certification, AI techniques, better scans. But almost nobody talks about what happens between the patient walking in and the money landing in your account. And that's the gap what I'm talking about. And that's the gap is costing you and your practice every single week. Let me share with you how the whole thing works in a real life. Okay, I was working with a practice and we sat down and looked at the number properly. The TCO completed 27 consultations, and out of those 27, 20 patients were booked to see the dentist. And this is, I would call, a 74% conversion rate. And many practice, this would be amazing, seen good, fantastic. But problem was not this. The real problem was TCO was not getting enough consultation in the first place. And that matters. That matters. Why? Because if one aligner case is worth around 2,500, just one extra accepted treatment per week adds on £10,000 per month for your practice. So the issue was not how well the TCO was converting. The issue was there was not enough appointments coming for TCO. That told us exactly what to fix first. It wasn't conversion. It was marketing and the lead flow. The second thing we looked at was the transitioning from TCO to dentist. And what we discovered was one dentist was converting his cases at 75%. Another dentist was converting at 33%. That tells us there's no system in the practice. And now, think about this commercially. If each treatment is worth 2,500, just one more accepted case means £10,000 more revenue every single month. But the loss did not stop there, because the dentist who was converting at 75% had another problem. His chair wasn't full. He had capacity for another 15 patients every single month. 15 patients he never saw. Now think about this commercially again. Each case in that practice was worth 2,500. 15 missed patients every single month. That is 37,500 lost in revenue every single month. Now, I want you to multiply that across the full year. That is £450,000 just from one chair. That was already there. The patient existed. The dentist had the skill. The chair had the time. But the right volume was simply not reaching the right person, and nobody had measured it until I sat down with them and looked at the numbers properly. Do you think something like this could be happening inside your practice right now as well? Think about it. Because most principals I speak to are losing somewhere between 250,000 to 300,000 a year without even knowing it. And that is only could be one or two chairs. It's not about because of bad dentistry, not because of lack of patient, but because nobody has ever sat them down and measured it properly. So I want you to think about this for a moment. What would you do if that money was sitting in your account right now? What would happen? What would that change in your practice? What would that change in your life? Because that money hasn't gone forever, it's still there. It is just leaking out silently every single month. And that's exactly we are going to fix. Now, let's talk about how to fix this, how to stop this straight away. Are you ready? Pay attention, please listen to this. If you are in this situation, there are three things you can do right now. First, look at your numbers by stage, not just by total revenue. And look at what's happening at each point in the patient's journey. Inquiry to booking, booking to consultation, consultation to accepted treatments. Each stage will tell you something different. Second, identify where the biggest drop off is happening. And this is your number one priority, not everything. Just one stage that is losing you money most. Third, fix that stage just before you do anything else, before you spend more money in the marketing, before you hire anybody else, before you change anything else, before if the journey is broken. Because listen, if the journey is broken in the middle, more patients at the top will not fix your problem. It's going to be like a leaky bucket. Now, you have two options. Option number one, you can take everything I have shared with you today and try to figure it out by yourself. Go back to the practice, look at numbers, try to identify where the leaks are happening and work through it by trial and error. It may be, and you may be able to find out, but it takes time. Okay? And while you are figuring it out, remember, leakages are happening every single week, every single month, and revenue is being still walking out the door. Option number two, you sit down with me for 45 minutes in a complimentary practice revenue review. No trial and error, no guessing, just absolute clarity on exactly where your practice is losing revenue and precisely what to do to fix it in just one conversation. Now let me ask you something. You are a business owner. You make decisions every single day based on best use of your time and money. Is that right? So which option makes more sense to you? Weeks or months of trial and error while leaks are happening consistently? Or 45 minutes that gives you complete clarity and a clear plan? The answer is obvious. And the complimentary session costs you nothing, not a penny. Just 45 minutes of your time exchanged with my time. In return, you will walk away knowing exactly where your biggest revenue is leaking and exactly where to start, what to do to fix it. And after that, listen, whether you work with me or not, it does not matter. That's the offer I'm giving you. No pressure, no obligation. So all you have to do is send me a direct message with a word called review or email me at gagan@limitless.dentist. gagan@limitless.dentist to claim your complimentary session. And I want to be very honest with you. These sessions are limited to 7 sessions per month. And they may not be available at zero cost for much longer. So don't delay. And don't let another month go by while the revenue keeps leaking. Take the benefit, send me a DM or send me an email.